Hello, people of the internet. It's your boy, Skinny Penis, with a replay. Actually, the second replay on my channel on Incomparable. Thankfully, I had saved it up before I received my ban, so now I can kind of share it. Pretty good damage. Can go over a bit of Incomparable. Obviously, I got massively lucky in here. Regarding the matchmaking, it's pretty favorable. We have 4 BBs that I permanently overmatch, 32mm armor. We have 2 Asashios, which is bad, but the biggest problem is obviously a Kaga, Tort-based carrier, and an Incomparable with Trash Turning Circle, and also carriers in general. Cucking the biggest strength of Incomparable, the 10.6 surface detection, which is ridiculous for a BB. Already said in the other video I made about it. But I have 10-kilometer air detect, so carriers obviously neglected immediately. Regarding the video I put out my ban, I mean, I didn't expect anything to happen. Um, Not from the side of wargaming, at least. I just wanted to keep track of it. So there it is. Also, the attention I got from Reddit, or let's say the people that came over from Reddit, or the generally dented player base that came over and commented on it, was kind of, let's say, amusing to read through, because obviously, I mean, you gotta expect most of them are sub 50% dog shitters, so yeah, they don't really got the point at all. It was clearly stated that he even admitted that he did it on purpose, but he also said that I didn't know. So there goes essentially every comment someone posted. Nothing too unexpected at this point. I mean, these people don't get the game in general. They want to see a unicorn burn anyways. Um, Basically also saying that our entire legal system on the Western world should be thrown out of the window, and the logic behind innocent until proven guilty doesn't. That's not something they want. Everyone is fucking guilty. Just hope that nothing comparable happens to them ever in real life. That they're like at the side of a crime scene or something. Someone makes allegations in their family, and then they're just instantly sent to jail because they have to be. They have to be colluding. They have to be in on the job. Well, anyways, this game, I'm obviously instantaneously carrier spotted. My AA is also inexistent. So the problem here would be that I wanted to go A fast. I mean, mid spawns in general and Incomparable aren't that great, because you want to be on the 1 or 10 line instantly most of the time, because you can catch a lot of people broadside or going into flanks, and the next strength obviously would be that you go more than 40 knots with speed boost and brisk, which allows you to be faster than essentially any BB or cruiser into the flank, and then you have overmatching guns. It's with good accuracy obviously and good detection, so that's kind of a threat for the flank. But the carrier spotted me. I didn't know where all the battleships were. Obviously I knew where the two perma-kiting Thunderers were because they were spotted, but I didn't know where the other BBs were, so I dodged into the middle, got pretty lucky with the Alsace shot, but yeah. I could turn out behind that rock, so now I'm going to kite, and you could already see the opening volley of 24k on an angled Amagi, which is essentially, in my opinion, it's a dumb mechanic, but yeah, obviously I'm going to use it if it's available for me. You just point and click 32mm BBs like the Amagi, the Alsace, or the Thunderers for that matter, because the overmatch just allows you to essentially penetrate any part of the ship apart from torpedo belt, like on the Alsace, very unlucky salvo. You get some torpedo protection hits, or you hit the gun, then you actually ricochet, but the rest of the ship entirely, obviously, pen damage. So, I kite out here. The Amagi is obviously offering his body for free. As you can see, there's not much aiming involved. You just point and click him. Good thing is, the Asashio is actually spotted, so I know there's not going to be torps. Grease, in general, very favorable obviously for battleships against torp boats, because as you can see on the EF lines in the middle of the map, a lot of islands. And if a torp boat actually wants to get really good angles, he has to put himself deeply at risk by either getting spotted or killed by your DDs or cruisers, or just get radared for ages. Um, I'm also not getting spotted, or I didn't get spotted before, now I get spotted while shooting. And I tried to get the Hindenburg out of the middle. Um, Insane citadel damage, obviously. It just hit one shell, it's 19.5k. essentially cruiser moment. You just take half their HP, or at least a third of their HP with one shell if you're lucky. The problem with that being is, can't really ass and no-sit a Hindenburg, but on other cruisers this can happen at any angle, which is kind of ridiculous. But this man, I mean, he kind of wants to die anyway, so I'll grant him his wish. 3 more shells and he's gone. And now I can pretty much start to, while staying behind these islands, I can start to point and click the two 32mm overmatch BBs, hopefully. The Asashio sadly goes behind a rock, so I have no further angle. I mean, obviously I would just send my shells into the island, nothing would happen. So try to take some pot shots at the BBs. As said, something you can do in essentially every game with a 32mm overmatch BB is just point and click 32mm battleships. You might just get lucky and hit 4 or 5 shells penning, and it's like 20k or more. Asashio thankfully died, so here there's a decision to be made. Like, you can either push through with your team. Problem there would be that all 3 of their ships are already kiting, and as you can see they're also going dark and essentially dodging the respot. Our carrier is busy on the other side, so that thing won't spot anything. The DD is essentially where our other ships are, so if we can't spot them, neither can the DD. He's also, funnily enough, slower than I am. If I pip speed boost, go dark, and use brisk. Maybe not 100% slower, I wouldn't know what the speed boost speed of Akizuki is, but a lot of DDs are actually slower than an unspotted incomparable. Talked about it in the other video. It's essentially just a Gimmik Stick. You get a bunch of funny little consumables, dented concealment and insane speed with overmatching guns. I don't know why it needed it, the game, I mean, but yeah, here we go, we have it. It can be a pain to play alone in randoms, obviously. As I stated, the enemy carrier is a torp-based carrier. Carriers alone already neglect your spotting, but then on top, if they're torp-based, it's very hard to make anything happen if the carrier wants you dead and is very, like, let's say, competent about it, because your turning circle is essentially carrier turning circle, so you're never gonna dodge it. A Kaga could perma-grief you the entire time. Your A is also way too weak to consistently shoot down planes, and we all know that HE spam obviously murders your A on top of it. So here I tried to catch up to them, because I know I can outspot all 3 of these ships. I can outspot Saint Louis, Alsace, Amagi, all of them. 10.6 conceal on incomp, obviously. You outspot pretty much everything apart from a few light cruisers and obviously DDs, but the rest you just outspot. And here, 32mm overmatch moment again. As I said, definitely not a big fan of that, because there's no skill or anything involved. So I can just go dark here again, there's no DD around me, I can turn in whenever I want, I have a heal ready, I have a DCP ready, so theoretically I can shoot here too, and I will. Idea here is you shoot them a bit more, do a bit more pot shot, like a bit more dot damage to the BBs so they keep running away. So then I can finally go dark, turn to the right and go into the middle. Thankfully the Thunderer keeps what's it called? Never mind. Like, essentially he keeps playing like he started playing in the beginning. Perma Kite. It's a double Thunder division, by the way. Pretty scummy, but you saw from the get-go that they're essentially perma kiters. The first opportunity they see of someone pushing into them, they're gonna turn into base. So I can just use that and the already 3 running ships logically to just create a bit more distance, so I can go dark at any given time and then turn towards the right and play more war towards the middle. The perma overmatch on the Alsace actually made him go so low that we could kill him now, which is very good. The Puerto Rico guy in my team is also not too bad. I think he's actually pretty decent. Flex is like a... Yeah, I don't know who these guys are. I know some of them, wouldn't know what their actual names are, but there's like some Unicums, Super Unicums from Min A if I remember correctly. So he's gonna keep pushing here. I go dark and push up towards the B cap now to essentially stop any of their battleships from pushing back into the Puerto Rico. Mainly the Thunderer, who's full HP and who could go for it. because I would be more centered and have a broadside shot, or if they angle towards me, the Puerto Rico gets a broadside shot. Um, Interesting engagement between Thunderer and Incombis. I actually outspot him by like more than 2 kilometers if I want to, and I overmatch him perma. So Thunderers actually have a pretty hard time fighting in comparable. It's a bit easier on Conqueror because you have the super heal, so you can heal way more of the pen damage over time. Though I think the Thunderer has, instead of 50% heal of pens, it's like 60, 65 or something. Yeah, well, in in general, you would just point and click them, and over time you shoot them down because they won't sit you. They have HA loaded most of the time anyway, and you're equipped with a super heal too. So as I said, you go more towards the middle, and you see here the Thunderer tried to push back into the Puerto. He has to give me broadside for 1 shot here, so I hope for big damage. And yeah, it's decent. I mean, you got 1 sit, 2 sits would have already essentially insta-evaporated him, so low that the Puerto probably one-shots him. But it's fine. We got exactly that salvo in. He's on fires anyway. The Puerto is full HP. He also ignored the Puerto for way too long, so he can just finish him off now. And then Puerto versus Amagi is probably gonna go our way too. I can go push into the middle now. I send 1 last salvo onto the Thunderer. Not because I 100% wanted to kill Steel, but in case he has a DCP and a heal at the same time, just finish him off. I didn't really keep track of him using DCP or heals. Now, Dark instantaneously again. I run reload incomparable, so 17.6 kilometer range might sound a bit limiting, which it kinda is, but it also helps out with going dark. So I can just make a very nice brisk accelerated incomparable move into the middle. My Akizuki is running in from the front, the Azuma is coming in from behind, so this Thunder is turbo occupied, so essentially you have Torps, I have a heal, I have DCP, I have everything, so just run into the Thunderer, and probably 2 salvos should kill him. You can even overmatch if he goes nose in. Most battleships that go nose in, you could even overmatch settle them through the nose, obviously, unless it's like a Kreml. Here I get really lucky, like a triple sit. Definitely needed, because we were down 2 ships, and they were very healthy, especially the Thunderer, and now I pretty much equalized the playing field a bit. Like Akizuki is still alive, we can get the mid-cap. I have a Pommern running into them in our base, and I'm Puerto Rico on the other side, so if I stay centered now, I should be able to definitely get some opportunistic broadside shots. And I don't Citadel him here. But essentially that's what I'm trying now. Trying to keep the Smolensk from farming me already. You can farm me later, but not now, so I'm trying to get behind the island in front of me. And after I get that 1 salvo on the Smolly, which I hope will devastating strike. After I get that salvo out, I will turn my guns to the Vlad, try to help my Pommern kill him. Obviously we get the 4 overpen treatment on the Smolly. Thing is, actually, the Incomparable has very nice fuse and penetration, in the sense that it's not too high for the gun caliber, like the 508mm. It's actually also the battleship with the longest shell travel time, I think, on long range on tier 10. It's like not even comparable to things like Slava or Kreml. It takes way longer for your shells to arrive, which also lowers the penetration at range a lot. Against cruisers and 32mm BBs doesn't matter at all, because you penetrate anyway, you overmatch. But hitting citadels at range is not that simple as it might seem. Also here, I don't know if it's penetration issues or just dispersion. Didn't get sits. But in the end, the Bomber is still alive, which is important now, because obviously the Smolly is farming me now. He would also kill me. The same goes for the carrier. He could kill me essentially at any given moment in time. Sorry, got interrupted. Could kill me at any given moment in time, but here you get really lucky. That's the thing about Smolensk. If the Smolensk showed broadside, like before, I overpen because of my penetration. Most battleships do, especially under 10 kilometers. If he gets flat, some way you can cheese battleships, because there's no way in hell they get citadels reliably. They may get the perfect shot on the water where the fuse is enough, but mostly they would just overpen. Here he angles as in, so the 1 shell that goes into his ass does the 19.5 5k damage, which is lucky, essentially winning us the game. Two things were very important. I go B into the middle and help out our Pommern. Also took a bit of damage off him because the Smolly shot me, not him. So our Pommern stayed alive and got DCPs and heals off. So now the carrier has to finish him and me at the same time. Because in general it's problematic. I'm down to 17,000. I have a heal, yes, but I mean I can only heal 17,000. As you can see, there's no more potential HP I can regenerate. So having the carrier go for the Pommern now is essentially game winning at this point. The Akizuki is also on 200 HP, so essentially he could be spotted through carrier and insta-die, or he gets spotted, or like the carrier either kills him directly, or the Amagi gets a nice little shot. The Amagi, not a problem. As we know from the beginning, 32mm overmatch, just point and click, so I try to keep him behind the island while I go towards the right, so he has a harder time getting all his guns on me. He actually has to commit outside of the island for this. The the carrier is panicking a bit, like he's not really much concentrating on focusing out one ship at a time. And now, after I kill the Amagi, essentially by point and clicking him, as I said, I can only repeat it so often, how brain damaged the entire logic behind 32mm overmatch is, in my opinion, because I mean it's a battleship, it's supposed to have armor, and then you shit all over it. They're very funny, I guess. Also it's a tier 8 BB matched against a tier 10, so whatever. I push up here. The planes always came from 9-10 line. I'm personally expecting the carrier to be in A10. The carrier now went for some reason for the Akizuki. Actually got the bomb hit, so that guy is dead. So, but I'm taking the gamble that me and the Pommern will kill the carrier quicker than he will kill either of us. Because I have 14,000 in heal ready, so unless he hits all 4 torps in one drop, he's not gonna kill me. And you can see here I overmatch him everywhere. I can just point and click him down. Very nice AR at this point too. And I mean he's never gonna kill me now that you see that he only has what 5 or 6 torp planes left. Very interesting, by the way, that the Kag actually managed to get himself deplaned. But yeah, that's the average carrier player in World of Warships. So essentially Iron Priest, the other video, feeding me planes, is essentially your average carrier player doing 0 damage, just feeding planes, being too dented to do anything else anyway. But whatever. The game ends up being a 3.7 or 3.8k base game, because I killed a bunch of tier 10 cruisers, like the Smolly and the Hindenburg, all by myself. Didn't expect it, to be honest, but probably the 2 cap assists and the amount of kills also helped. Could have had like 7 or 8 kills at this point. Sadly I didn't get the finishing blow like the Alsace survived with 300 and stuff. But yeah, it's gonna be 3.8 base. I kill the Kaga here, and I end the game with 375k. Sadly I didn't take the end screens because my internet collapsed and the game died on me. But yeah, that's incomparable. You can get lucky with the matchmaking, getting tier 8, 9 and a few tier 10s, and then the 2 tier 10 cruisers just show flat broadside. But I would definitely advise to play it with a DD or some sort of cruiser or something. Yeah, and in general you just have to be lucky that there's no carrier. You can have a lot of fun without carrier in Incomparable, but you can have the worst game entirely if you have a carrier in the enemy team. Specifically stuff like Hakuryu is menacingly stupid against it, because the Torp squad can essentially one squad you. I mean, if he has heal spec, he just take like 60-70k with one squad at least if he's a competent player. So yeah, that's essentially the biggest downside and weakness of Incomparable is the carriers. But yeah, good game, 375k, 3.8 base or something. It's the highest damage on EU, I think. There's more damage on NA. I checked NA, there's someone with more damage. But yeah, definitely a very lucky game. Hope you had fun, or hope you enjoyed watching it, and see you for the next video.